Be me Liam, 24, junior graphic designer at a mid-sized firm basically. I draw logos and pick fonts for a living. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills and lets me afford my tiny apartment that always smells faintly of my neighbor's cooking. Usually cabbage life is pretty standard. Work, gym, video games, and the eternal quest to find a decent burrito in this city. My best friend is a guy named Noah. We've known each other since we were kids. One of those friendships that's more like a brother you actually like. Noah is a journalist. Or trying to be one. He works for a local online news blog that mostly covers restaurant openings and city council drama. He's always chasing some big story he thinks will be his ticket to a real paper one Tuesday. Noah calls me, voice buzzing with the kind of energy he only gets when he's onto something. Liam, you will not believe what I just found. Let me guess, a burrito place that doesn't use iceberg lettuce. Better. So much better, there's this new cafe that just opened up downtown. It's called the Crimson Verbena. Sounds pretentious, but okay. And he says, drawing the word out, they have a policy. A special pricing policy. I can hear him grinning through the phone. They're charging men an extra 18%. They're calling it a patriarchy liability tax. I just stand there for a second, holding my phone, processing this. You're kidding me. I am not. It's to raise awareness about the gender pay gap or something. It's all over their Instagram. The comments are a war zone. This is it, man. This is my story. My first thought is that this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. My second thought is that Noah is going to drag me into this somehow, so you're going to write an article about it. Write about it. Liam, we're going there this Saturday. We have to experience it firsthand for journalistic integrity. Journalistic integrity, you write reviews of brunch spots. Noah. Details, details, this is real journalism. A social experiment in our own backyard. We have to go. I try to argue. I tell him I don't want to pay extra for a coffee just because I'm a dude. I have a perfectly good coffee machine at home. His name is Mr. Coffee and he doesn't discriminate, but Noah is persistent. He says it's for the culture, for the story. He promises to pay for my coffee, including the liability tax. Against my better judgment, I agree. Curiosity gets the better of me. Saturday morning arrives. It's one of those perfect autumn days, crisp and sunny. I meet Noah outside the cafe, the Crimson Verbena. The sign is written in a flowing, overly stylized font. The whole place has this aggressive, we're not like other cafes vibe. There's a chalkboard sign on an easel out front. It lists their house rules. 1. Women and non-binary patrons have priority seating. 2. Men will be subject to an 18% patriarchy liability tax. Proceeds go to a local women's shelter. 3. Respectful dialogue is encouraged, but unsolicited opinions are not. Noah is practically vibrating with excitement, snapping pictures of the sign with his phone. This is gold, Liam, pure gold. I just feel a growing sense of dread. This feels less like a cafe and more like a social studies classroom. I'm about to fail. We walk in, the interior is what you'd expect. Lots of plants, mismatched furniture that's supposed to look vintage but just looks old, and art on the walls that's probably very meaningful to the person who made it. The air smells of artisanal coffee and self-righteousness. It's moderately busy. A few small groups of women are chatting at tables. A couple of guys are sitting by themselves, looking a little uncomfortable, like they'd accidentally walked into the wrong bathroom. We get in line behind a woman who's ordering a latte with about 7 different modifiers. The barista, a young woman with bright pink hair and a nose ring, gives her a warm, welcoming smile. Then it's our turn. The smile on the barista's face tightens just a little. It's subtle, but I notice it. "Hi, what can I get for you?" she asks, her tone now strictly professional. "I'll have a large black coffee," Noah says, ever the simple man. "And I'll have a cappuccino," I stammer. I suddenly feel like I'm being judged for my beverage choice. The barista taps it into the tablet. "Okay, so that's 1 large black coffee and 1 cappuccino. Your total will be $11.21. Noah pulls out his card. "And that includes the tax?" he asks a little too eagerly. The barista nods, her expression unreadable. "Yes. That includes the 18% patriarchy liability surcharge." She says patriarchy liability surcharge, like she's reciting a line from a script she's memorized but doesn't fully believe. Noah pays and we step aside to wait. I lean over to him. Did you see that? The vibe just completely shifted when we got to the counter. I know, it's fascinating, he whispers back, furiously typing notes into his phone. The subtle nonverbal cues, the shift in vocal tonality, this is amazing. I'm not fascinated, I'm just uncomfortable. I feel like an intruder. While we wait, I look around the room. There's a notice board by the door, covered in flyers for poetry slams, feminist book clubs, and workshops on dismantling internal misogyny. One of the owners, I assume, is walking around talking to the female customers. She has long, graying hair in a braid and a very serene, almost beatific smile. She stops at each table, asks how they're doing, shares a little laugh. She doesn't make eye contact with any of the male patrons. Our coffees are finally ready. The pink-haired barista calls out cappuccino and black coffee without looking at us. We grab our drinks and look for a place to sit. Of course, all the good tables are taken. The ones by the window, the comfy armchairs, priority seating, I mutter to Noah. We find a tiny, wobbly table in a dark corner near the restrooms. We sit down. The chairs are hard and uncomfortable. Noah takes a sip of his coffee. Okay, so initial impressions. The coffee is fine, I say, but the atmosphere is terrible. I feel like I'm being punished for existing. That's the point, though, isn't it? To make you feel a fraction of the discomfort women feel every day. I guess, but are we sure this is helping? It just feels divisive, like it's creating an us versus them dynamic over a cup of coffee. As we're talking, I notice a young woman at the table next to us. She's with a friend and they keep glancing over at us and whispering. I try to ignore it, but it's hard not to feel self-conscious. Then the serene-looking owner starts making her rounds again. This time she stops at the table next to us. She smiles warmly at the two women. Is everything all right here, ladies? One of them, a brunette with glasses, gestures towards us with her head. We're fine, she says, her voice a little too loud. Just enjoying the space you've created. It's so nice to have a place where you don't have to worry about, She gives us another pointed look. My face burns. I haven't said a word to them. I've just been sitting here drinking my overpriced cappuccino. The owner gives us a brief, cool glance. She doesn't say anything to us, but her expression is clear. We are the she turns back to the women. We're so glad you feel comfortable. That's why we're here. She gives them another beatific smile and moves on. I look at Noah. Did that just happen? Noah has stopped typing. He looks genuinely taken aback. Wow, okay, that was overt. Overt, Noah, they basically just called us predators for sitting here. I mean, not in so many words. It was implied. Heavily, we sit in silence for a few minutes, the cheerful chatter of the cafe buzzing around us. It feels suffocating. I take another sip of my cappuccino. It tastes bitter now. You know what? I say, pushing my chair back. I think I've had enough journalistic integrity for one day. I'm going home. What we just got here, I don't care. I'm not comfortable here. This whole thing, it's not raising awareness. It's just hostile. Noah looks disappointed, but he doesn't argue. He can see I'm genuinely upset. He packs up his phone. Okay, let's go. As we walk towards the door, I feel the eyes of everyone in the cafe on my back. We step outside into the fresh air and I take a deep breath. So Noah says, trying to sound cheerful. What did you think? I say, that I'm never going back there again, and I think your story is going to be less about a social experiment and more about a business model that's destined to fail. He sighs. You're probably right, but damn, it's a hell of a story. Noah's article comes out a few days later. He's surprisingly balanced. He describes our experience, the tax, the priority seating, the awkward atmosphere. He interviews the owner, a woman named Willow. She talks a lot about creating a safe space and challenging patriarchal norms. He also interviews a few customers, both male and female. The women love it, calling it empowering and necessary. The men are more mixed. Some think it's a noble idea, others find it off-putting. The article goes viral, at least on a local level. It gets picked up by bigger news sites. Suddenly, the crimson verbena is the talk of the town, and the internet does what the internet does best. It loses its collective mind. The comments on Noah's article are a dumpster fire. Half the people are calling Willow a hero and a visionary. The other half are calling her a misandrist and a grifter. People are review bombing the cafe on Yelp and Google. One-star reviews saying sexist and discriminatory, five-star reviews saying finally a place for us. The crimson verbena becomes a symbol, a battleground in the culture war. I feel weirdly complicit in the whole thing. I was there. I'm part of the story. About a week later, I'm at my local coffee shop, the Daily Grind. It's the polar opposite of the crimson verbena. It's run by a gruff middle-aged guy named Frank. The decor hasn't been updated since 1998. The coffee is cheap and strong. Frank treats everyone with the same level of mild indifference, regardless of their gender. It's beautiful. I'm sitting by the window, sketching in my notebook, when someone sits down opposite me. It's the barista from the Crimson Verbena, the one with the pink hair and the nose ring. She's not wearing her work uniform. She's in a hoodie and jeans. She looks younger and less guarded. "Hi," she says. "You're Liam, right?" I'm so surprised I can only nod. "I'm Maya," she says. "I work at, well, you know where I work." I close my notebook. "Yeah, I remember. I saw the article your friend wrote," she says. "It was pretty fair, actually." He tried to be, she sighs and stirs her coffee. "Look, I wanted to say sorry about how you were treated the other day. With the owner and those women." I'm taken aback. "Oh, you don't have to apologize." "I know I don't, but I wanted to. This whole thing, it's gotten out of hand." She looks genuinely troubled. "You don't agree with the policy?" I ask. "I did at first. I thought it was a cool idea, start a conversation, but the way Willow is running things, it's not about conversation, it's about creating a clique." She leans forward, her voice low. "She's really nice to the customers who fit her idea of the right kind of woman, but if you're not one of us, she can be really cold. And she encourages that kind of behavior, like what happened with you. It's making the place feel really toxic." She tells me business has been weird since the article blew up. They have a lot of supporters who come in to take a selfie with the chalkboard sign, buy one coffee, and leave a huge tip. But they've lost all their regulars, the people who just want a good cup of coffee on their way to work. The guys stopped coming, obviously, she says, except for a few who seem to enjoy being scolded. But a lot of women have stopped coming too. They say the place feels too political, too intense. They just want to relax, not feel like they're on the front lines of a revolution. She tells me the staff is miserable. Willow is constantly monitoring them, making sure they're enforcing the vibe. Last week, she told me my smile wasn't authentically welcoming enough when I served a male customer. I was just trying to be polite. We talk for almost an hour. Maya is smart and funny and surprisingly down to earth. She's just a college student trying to pay her rent. She's not some man-hating ideologue. She tells me she's looking for a new job. "I believe in feminism," she says as she gets up to leave. "But I don't think this is it. This isn't building bridges, it's just building a fortress." She gives me a small smile. "Anyway, it was nice to meet you, Liam." "You too, Maya." I watch her go, feeling a strange mix of sympathy and validation. I wasn't crazy. The place really was toxic. Another week goes by. I'm at work trying to decide between two shades of beige for a corporate logo when Noah texts me a link. It's a GoFundMe page for the Crimson Verbena. The title is "Help Us Survive the Misogynistic Onslaught." I click the link. It's a long, rambling post written by Willow. She claims that since the right-wing media, meaning Noah's brunch blog, published their hit piece, the cafe has been under constant attack. She talks about the negative online reviews, the harassing phone calls, the patriarchal trolls who are trying to silence them. She says that their business has dropped significantly and they're struggling to make rent. "We are more than just a cafe," she writes. "We are a sanctuary, a beacon of hope in a world that constantly tries to diminish women. We cannot let the hate win." They're asking for $50,000. I scroll down to see how much they've raised. $2,154. I do the math. They've been live for 3 days. It's not looking good. The comments on the GoFundMe are a mix of effusive support and scathing ridicule. "Keep fighting the good fight, sisters. Maybe if you treated half the population with respect, you wouldn't be going bankrupt. I'll donate if you drop the man tax." I close the tab. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. You know you shouldn't look, but you can't help it. I feel a little bit of pity for them, but mostly I just feel like this was inevitable. You can't build a business on a foundation of resentment. 2 weeks later, it's all over. Noah sends me another link. This time, it's a screenshot of the Crimson Verbena's Instagram page. It's a picture of a sunset with a long caption overlaid. It is with a heavy heart that we announce the closure of the Crimson Verbena. The post goes on to blame everyone but themselves. The fragile male egos, the unsupportive local media, the internalized misogyny of women who refuse to support us. It says that they refuse to compromise their principles for profit and that the world is simply not ready for a space like this. There's no mention of the failed GoFundMe. No mention of the alienated customers or the toxic work environment Maya described. It's a masterclass in self-delusion. They're not closing because of a flawed business model and poor customer service. They're closing because they were too pure, too radical for this fallen world. They're martyrs for the cause. I feel a strange sense of closure. It wasn't just me. My discomfort was real. The business failed because it was a bad business, not because I was a bad person for not wanting to be lectured during my coffee break. A few days after the news breaks, I'm back at the daily grind. Frank's place is buzzing. It's the same mix of people it always is: college students, construction workers, old ladies reading the paper, young professionals typing on laptops. Men, women, young, old. Nobody has priority seating. Everyone pays the same price for their coffee. And then I see her behind the counter. It's Maya. She's wearing a black t-shirt with the Daily Grinds logo on it. Her pink hair is tied back in a messy bun. She sees me and her face breaks into a genuine, unforced smile. Hey Liam, hey Maya, you work here now? Yep, Frank hired me last week. It's nice, normal. Normal is good, I say. Yeah. It really is. I order my usual, a large black coffee. She rings me up. That'll be $2.50, she says. No surcharge. I laugh. I appreciate that. I pay, and as I'm waiting for my coffee, I watch her work. She's friendly and efficient with everyone. She jokes with a couple of guys in paint-splattered overalls. She helps an elderly woman carry her tray to a table. She seems happy, relaxed. When my coffee is ready, she hands it to me. Hey, she says a little shyly. My shift ends in about 20 minutes. If you're not busy, maybe we could actually sit and have a coffee together as equals. My heart does a little backflip. Yeah, I say, trying to sound casual. I'd like that a lot. I go and find a table by the window. The sun is streaming in. The coffee is hot and strong. The air smells of coffee beans and nothing else. I sit there, sketching in my notebook, waiting for Maya. And I think about the Crimson Verbena. I think about Noah's article and Willow's GoFundMe and the whole ridiculous month-long saga. It wasn't a story about feminism or the patriarchy or the gender pay gap. It was a story about a bad cafe, a place that was so focused on its message that it forgot the most important thing about running a business. You have to make people want to come back. You can't build a community by pushing people away. You can't start a conversation by shouting at one half of the room. Maya comes over holding a mug. She sits down and we start to talk, and it's easy, normal, just two people getting to know each other over a cup of coffee. No tax, no politics, no agenda. And I realize this is what a safe space really feels like.